DHS just called out Hasan. Lies for likes. Influencer claims he was targeted for political beliefs. Claims that Hasan's political beliefs triggered a CBP inspection are baseless. CBP officers follow the law, not agenda. Upon entering the country, individuals referred to further inspection. Routine law. This is still like not really a statement. I'm still not even sure if they pulled any of the actual files or anything for what happened here, but this is the same thing they said before. Okay, who are the conductors? Okay, we've got Dirt here. Who else? Who else do I need to pull up?
Hello.
Hello. Who else down there needs to come up?
Rinlux, I guess. But I don't see him there. Maybe he's in chat.
Oh. Okay. Well, all right. What's up? What happened this morning? I have no idea. Oh, Chacha. Okay.
Chacha is a fellow conductor, but the issue was with Rinlux.
Oh. Is Rinlux here?
He was a few minutes ago, I think.
Okay. Well, what's up? What happened this morning? What's going on?
Do you want me to tell you the whole timeline? Or...
I guess, sure. What is the whole timeline? Wait, how long is this? How extensive is this? How far back does it go?
I have like 4 paragraphs, 1 sentence each or 2. So
go for it. Okay.
So a few weeks ago, we decided to do weekly TV shows to build community and stuff like Game of Thrones used to be. The idea was to do 1 current and 1 finished season of a show. I suggested the idea to do 1 episode of each for NA and for EU, so both people can watch the same thing. Rinlux decided to split them up, so only NA gets 2 episodes of old shows, EU gets 2 episodes of a new show. We agreed that to do a poll the week prior to every new show. I showed Rin the poll every time and made the results public of the polls once they were over. We successfully started.
Hold on, I'm so sorry. Wait, so you guys agreed to do? You wanted to do shows, 2 for NA, 1 for EU. For what? What is this?
No, 2 episodes a week. NA gets the old shows. EU gets the new shows.
What shows are these?
We choose them.
Okay.
TV shows.
Okay.
NA is watching Severance,
Jesus
and then
Christ.
EU is watching.
We watch Black Mirror.
Anime, I guess.
Okay.
We watch Black Mirror.
Okay. So the shows themselves aren't important, but okay, gotcha. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So we successfully started playing Severance for NA, and Black Mirror we finished for EU last week. So this week we started a 2nd poll for a new show. I showed Rinlux the poll, and he approved it. I posted it in DGG. We even set up a bot to spam it during the whole week at regular intervals, so people can see it and vote. Today, I started the stream and showed the results, announced the results. And after I announced the results, I started playing the 1st episode of the new show, which is the problem, I guess, to many, because it was an anime show. And a lot of people started complaining during the 1st episode. Like, the chat was going crazy. I think this got Rinlux's attention, and I was getting tagged and stuff. After the episode was over, I stopped instead of playing the 2nd episode like it was scheduled, and asked what was going on. Rinlux said that there was accusation of botting, and that I showed the results. I showed the analytics that Stropo provides. And after this, I believe there is no evidence that it was botted, at least for the anime. I think there's some evidence that some other shows might have been botted, but that's more complicated.
Can I get a word in?
Yeah.
Okay, well, 3 days ago, you said that it was botted, and it was botted for the wrong shows, but at the same time that it was botted for the wrong shows, there's a very high disproportionate amount of second, third, and fourth place votes all going towards anime. Like an incredibly high amount of second and third and fourth place votes all going towards anime. It's weird that
I
there's
don't
first
know
place
how.
votes. It's weird that there's 125 first place votes for one show, and then there's 35 first place votes for another show, but the 35 first place vote show has way more points than the other one. It seems like it wasn't just botted for the top shows; it was botted for the animes as well. And you admitted this. You saw this 3
how do
days
you know?
ago, and then you didn't even do anything about it.
I saw that the other shows were getting that. I saw a spike. I didn't know for sure that it was botted. I said conjecture that it might be, and I waited for the results to see what happens. And there is no way for me to check what the second or third choice is. This is ranked choice, and straw poll only shows you the first choice.
That's true, but you said, this is what you said. You said that you're pretty sure somebody botted the TV show poll Amigolo. One show was far ahead and then got 100 votes for only one show. And I'm pretty sure that you can see the results, and you probably saw that your animes, both of your animes, were in the lead. And you were like, whatever, I don't care if it got botted. Both of my animes are crushing it right now, so whatever.
You're confused. You're confusing things. When I said this comment, with the lead by far was Death and Robots, which when did I post that I think it might be? On the 15th of May, right?
Yes, 15th of May, yeah.
Yes. If you look on the graph, on the 15th of May, the first show at first place was Death and Robots. It showed up a lot, and everything else looked pretty normal down there. Then I wrote that comment. I think the second place was The Pit, even back then, before its spike happened. And the anime that eventually won was towards the bottom. So
no, but it doesn't matter that it's at the bottom, because even though it's at the bottom, the amount of second, third, and fourth place votes that it's getting are way disproportionate. So it could be that Death and Robots got a huge spike, 120 votes, 125 votes, and then The Pit also got 100 votes that are first place votes. But it seems that both of those times, anime was in the second and third place spots, because if you look at the averages for all the shows, it's like 1.5 for anime, like per person per ballot. It was 1.5 for both animes, and then everything else is below 0.8. It's not even close. It seems like there's some really weird disproportionate amount of second and third and fourth place votes all going towards it. And nobody else gives, and that's it.
Can I tell you why I don't think the Death and Robots thing was contributing to the anime? Because I was checking the results during the week, and I saw that Death and Robots spiked up. Before that, it was The Pit. I think Pit was first. Witch Watch was second. Kowloon was last or second to last. I'm talking overall points, not first choice points. And then I left the poll for the whole week. I didn't notice the Pit getting that spike. I saw that spike just yesterday, but today I saw that what the results were as you saw them. But it doesn't conclude, especially for Death and Robots. I'm pretty sure Death and Robots guy, if he was botting, I'm pretty sure he didn't choose second or third option for anime.
Is there not like an anti-botting thing on the poll thing?
Yes, there's a VPN.
Yeah, there is. You just didn't select it.
I selected it.
You turned off VPNs as well?
Yes. It's one IP address and botting protection. Not bot. It's called I don't allow VPNs or something like that. but maybe you can get around that.
I just think it's weird that you saw that it was being botted and then you just didn't care, and then you let it run.
When I said it in chat, Rinlux was there, and Rinlux, I'm assuming saw it. He's like 4 messages below when I said it, and I typed it in green.
It doesn't look like he was really reacting to you. I don't know.
Somebody in chat said that this is not the real reason why Rinlux banned.
Well, yeah, but that's not the real reason. I mean, the real reason that he got banned is that Rinlux said, "Hey, stop like streaming," because everybody was getting pissed off that he was streaming anime that was obviously botted, and then he decided to stream anyways. We continued.
Okay.
Can I finish my thing?
Well, yeah, go finish it.
So wait, Yes, so after I showed the analytics, I saw that Rinlux said that he wanted a repo. I asked him how we should do the repo, considering that everyone was complaining about rank choice, giving them result they didn't want. And also the last poll, the actual poll, ran for a whole week, which we had agreed previously to do. And also everyone was primed to choose something else this time. He wouldn't say how we should do the repo, and against the rules told me to end the scheduled stream because this was against the rules, and because during the time we were talking we could have played the second episode, which was 20 minutes. I decided to continue and then play a movie after, as it was scheduled. And as soon as I said that, he perma-banned me from DGG, blocked the embed, removed me from Discord that we were with you as well, so that I can't complain there. And yeah, I think it's not very fair that whenever Rinlux decides that the results aren't legitimate, he can ban everyone who disagrees with him and demand new polls. And he can also decide when to end scheduled streams for schedules that everyone agreed to beforehand. And also, I want to mention this because it's kind of annoying. Everyone keeps calling me a Russian, an orc, a pedophile, a botter, and I think it's kind of offensive.
True, that's fair.
Considering I'm neither of those.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Well, Chacha, do you have anything else to add, or?
I mean, I there's nothing for me to say other than it was obviously botted. It was obviously botted for anime, even if it was in the second and third slots. I mean, it's like you can see that it was obviously botted for anime based on how the votes were distributed.
Can you explain to me why do you think it was botted for anime? Wouldn't someone botting it for anime put it in?
It's super simple. You just look at the results. So you see the results. The third and fourth options are the two options that got by far the most first place votes. It's 100 votes for the pit, 100 first place votes for the pit, 125 first place votes for Death and Robots, and then 40 first place votes for the anime that you were showing, and then 35 first place votes for the witch anime that you wanted to show, I guess. And but the witch anime and the other anime, they blew them out of the water. And if you look at the first place votes for all the other options, it's 50 votes for the rehearsal. That one only got 300 points. And then you have 400. You had 40 votes for 40 first place votes for Andor, which is the same as the anime that you showed. It only got 427 points. It was off by 300 points. It's very simple. It had like there was a huge disproportionate amount of second and third and fourth place votes all going towards just the animes, and that's it. And I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
And you think it's impossible that and you think this is only from the bot?
No, I think that you need to be an adult and you need to like, if you see that things are being super botted and you saw it was botted and you just posted it in chat, you could have just typed to Rinlux in the server that would have been, hey, it was botted. 3 days ago, and it meant, should I do a new poll? Oh, that's all you had to do is, hey, should I make a new poll? That's all you had to do.
Wait, can somebody
You didn't do any of
explain?
that.
I'm so
I
confused.
didn't know.
Why not just do like another poll if people were thinking that it was botted? What's the thing against that?
Exactly. He just said that he thought it was botted, and then nobody reacted to it, I guess, in chat. I don't know.
What is Dirt's answer to that? Why not? Yeah, why not just do another poll or whatever?
I thought it might be, but I can't be sure because I put botting protection, and how else would I ensure that the next poll doesn't get botted? If we do a repoll, people will say the next one got botted, or I guess they won't say it if the show they like wins, but they'll say it if a show they don't like wins.
Wow.
And I just want to repeat, if someone was voting for the anime, why are the first place votes going for Death and Robots and The Pit, and not towards the
To be
anime?
honest, I think it's kind of clever because you can only see the first place votes on straw poll, but you can't see the second or third place votes. So if you're able to, you can just manipulate it and just put the first place vote as some crappy show that nobody wants to watch, and then put the animes that you actually want to watch in the second and third and fourth place votes, and then you can just put it like that. It's I don't know.
Well, do
Wait,
other people
so
run
is
into this issue related to polling, or is this just like a
I
Dirt
think this is the
problem,
first
or?
time it's happened.
Well, wow. That's
And no one complained the previous time when we chose Severance or when we chose Black Mirror.
were people accusing it of being botted back then?
No.
Was there any reason to think it was botted back then?
Because the show. I don't know. I don't think so. And also, again, I asked how to do the repo, and I didn't get an answer. The answer was to end the stream. If you wanted a repo, we could have done a repo.
I mean, it's obviously you were just kind of like memeing at that point, right? You
Was I?
just brought a bunch of people into a Discord and said, "Should we do marbles? Should we have a Rust 1v1 to choose the next movie?"
The whole point was at the time was that people were complaining about rank choice, and I the first time I was here with Destiny was because I didn't do rank choice. Now people are complaining to me because it was rank choice. And Rinlox wouldn't say what kind of poll I would do to repo this. He just said go offline, no movies.
Wait, so Fish keeps saying you're lying in chat. Who is Fish? Why is Fish saying you're lying? Fish, come in here. And testify. I can't, sorry. Ugh, fucking retard.
The whole point of the rules that we developed with the schedule and everything was to avoid the situation in the first place.
All right, well, wow. Do I need to, am I being appealed to make a decision on anything?
I mean, I would like to not be perma-banned.
Wait, what are you
I don't know
perma-banned
about-
from?
From DGG, from the Discord I was with you. Oh no, I'm still in the Discord, but I was removed from the conductors. I guess Rinlock said that I was removed from conducting as well. And
Okay, I
my
can
embed got on.
I can
blocked.
unban you from DGG. I don't know if you should necessarily be banned from there. But I mean, if Rinlux gave you a direct conductor moderator command, and you refuse the direct conductor moderator command, it seems like that's
Sorry,
a bad thing,
I
yeah?
happened by mistake. Not sure, because we decided on rules and schedules, and he was going against those as well. So I don't know what the procedure should be for that.
Well, I think we always have to follow the guy on top, right? And then appeal it later, or talk about it in a more controlled form later, rather than probably having chat go mayhem over it, yeah?
Yeah, I guess. I probably shouldn't have continued, but I disagree that I think the rules were broken on the other side. So if I am getting punished for continuing streaming against a top conductor command, I think the top conductor is also breaking the rules by going against the rules and the schedule.
Sure, that might be the case, but like if that is the case, there's probably like a more appropriate form to bring it up than in chat, right? Where it's going to turn into like a massive dramatic shit show.
I couldn't say anything in chat. I was banned.
Well, but you were banned after, I imagine, after you told him that you weren't going to stop streaming or whatever, right?
Yeah, after he wouldn't say how we should repo, but I get what you mean.
Okay. Does anybody else want to come in and chat about this? Otherwise, Rinlux will overview the situation, or I imagine I'll chat with him later about it or something and see what's up.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
If I could get unbanned, that would be nice.
Yeah, you're not banned in chat, so
Okay, thank you.
be careful. Jesus. This was 2 days ago? What was this?
I find it sad that she was deprived by her freedom of speech. Here is the way that I look at it. If you take up action against another person and you try to get this person like deplatformed or like canceled, and you try to like push your narrative on people or anything like that, you deserve this.
Wait, deserve what? To get rape threats, or I don't know what the context is for this, but
Anything like that. You deserve this. You do. You deserve this. This is what you deserve.
also be careful about the hard lines on like deplatforming or like going after people. Like if somebody was like actively, like raping children at esports events, it's probably okay to, out this person or publicly say something, or like it depends on. Also, it's kind of weird when you say going after. I would just need an example. I'd have to ground out what he's saying in terms of an example here for.
Because you're doing this on purpose. You are being a bully.
What was this about? The Alyssa Mercantil whatever person.
Is what you deserve. Because you're doing this on purpose. You are being a bully. And so when I see a person who's doing that, then that's it. Yeah, she opened the door. This would have never happened if she didn't start doing this. She started this whole thing herself. She could have just stayed in her room and done her thing and written articles about video games, but that wasn't enough for her. She had to go and play the moral police for the internet, and now the internet seems like now it seems like she's in jail. And that's it. Didn't she try to take away your Capcom sponsorship for Dragon's Dogma 2? I don't know if she did, but if she, I would assume the answer to that is yes, but I just don't even remember that happening. Yes,
Nice.
I didn't even know that. And that's how unimportant this person is. And she's deprived of her freedom of speech. I do not cry any tears for people that get their freedom of speech taken away from them when they want to actively take it away from other people. These people want to create a world where the only way that you can have a conversation is under their allowance, right? They have to allow you to talk and have any opinion you want. So no, and I also think that you can't live and let live with these people. I don't think so. I think that you have to actively repudiate them, you have to actively push back against them, and you have to keep them in the hole where they belong. And the fact is that that's what we're doing. And that's why she's not at, that's why she's a waitress now. That's why all of this has happened. And we're going to keep doing it. We're going to send every single fucking one of them back to McDonald's. They're going back to DoorDash. They're going back to Uber. They're going back to working at Schlotsky's. And that's the way it's going to go. That's what's going to happen. And it might take me a while, but I'll get to you. Don't worry.
I guess I don't have the context for what exactly happened here, so I can't really even comment, but is this is only 2 minutes or whatever.
And listen, Mercante is trying to get you banned, just heads up. Well, of course she is. This is now the level of accountability and the level of power that I have, gentlemen.
So Asmongold talks about my video on stream, says I brought all this on myself. It's then immediately filled with harassing comments. You didn't even watch the video, Zach. I brought rape and death threats on myself. Yeah, guys, there's some weird world where this happens. I got this. I don't think Dan meant this. Or I don't think Dan meant to imply this, because I love Dan. He's my friend, and I give him the benefit of the doubt. But there's no world where you ever have to justify, like, unhinged rape threats. You never have to do that. Like, stuff like rape threats is probably always bad. You don't ever have to say, like, oh, you deserve to get threats for rape. That you don't, yeah, that's just, you never have to defend that position ever. Don't ever feel like you have to defend that position ever. Yeah, like there's this weird world. I don't know how to explain this. Just because something might happen as a part of doing a job, it's like a risk or a hazard. Generally, in most jobs, you try to minimize the risks or the hazards. Or you understand that the risks and the hazards are bad. You would never say that like you deserve them. But for whatever reason, when it comes to streamers, people do this thing where they're like, oh, you're a streamer? Well, of course you're going to get harassed. You deserve it because you're a streamer. It's like, well, that seems a little bit unhinged, but okay.
Moment, okay? I talked about her video. I didn't watch it. I didn't link people to it. Her video was already reported and taken down from YouTube. If you take up action against another person and you try to get this person like deplatformed, canceled, you deserve this. You do. You deserve this. This is what you deserve.
For context, we have posted almost 10,000 videos on YouTube and never once received a community strike. Do you have any idea how bad she had to mess up to get YouTube to take down her video for harassment and bullying?
In fact, and this...
Well, that's not really true at all. There's a lot of weird stuff that can trigger a community harassment thing or whatever. Like that's just a bad heuristic. I mean, it's possible that she did mess up really bad, but again, I don't have all the context for this, so...
How bad she had to mess up to get YouTube to take down her video for harassment and bullying?
In fact, and this might not be a surprise to anybody, but she's even trying to get me in trouble now. This is it. You can report Asmongold, report Twitch. She's even trying to get me in trouble now. This is it. You can report Asmongold.
Like here she's saying, she's quoting him saying she got harassed and she deserved it. Like that's kind of unhinged to say that, I would say.
Goal, report Twitch, report me. Twitch, are you cool with this? She did get harassed and she deserved it. So she's talking about bringing rape and death threats on myself. By the way, this has never happened and I never would do that because it's disgusting. But you had no problem retweeting things that are effectively telling me to...
Seppuku!
So what is...
Not gonna lie, I'd rather be me than Asmongold any day of the week. Truly impressed that he's still living in his rot this way. I probably would have improved my living standards or found a swifter method to end the eternal pain of existence in his situation. I mean, this is, I don't know if that's, first of all, I think you can tell people to kill themselves, fuck it, but.
Where's the
is that really? I don't know.
Logic here. Oh, that's right. There isn't any. No, I'm not sorry about you getting harassed. I don't give a fuck because I didn't do it. Like, she's writing articles trying to get people deplatformed all the time. She thinks that writing things doesn't have anything to do with me getting harassed. The only person that can get harassed is her. I never get harassed, right? No.
Fuck, I can't. All right, I don't know. I can't say anything without having more context on this. Because like, there's a world where what Asmon is saying, I kind of agree with what he's saying. Because for some reason, these people do act like the things that they say or do don't lead to other people getting harassed, and they absolutely do. I just don't have all the context, I guess, for everything that she said about him, or what the context and everything has been said about. That was a lot of word salad for nothing, but.
Nobody ever sends me death threats. I get harassed every fucking day. Hasan gets harassed every fucking day. Welcome to the fucking show. You're rude. You're obnoxious. You're like, oh, fight me.
And if you have a problem with that, come fight me physically, bitch.
This is embarrassing, yes. And turn this into, I think that you deserve death threats.
That's kind of cringe if she's saying stuff like that, and then. I mean, what do you yeah, fuck me. I don't know. What is it? ESH? Everyone sucks here?
Everybody can see through this instantaneously. Everybody knows that's not what I mean. This is exactly what a crybaby is. They sit around, they push people around, they attack them, they malign them, do whatever they can to make this person look bad. And then the moment that they get any pushback, if you step into the kitchen, you're gonna get heat. It doesn't matter who you are. And if you don't like it, get the fuck out of the kitchen. That's the way it is.
Might I suggest a different kitchen? A big, beautiful kitchen.
Good one. Okay, you know what? I don't care that much. Rape review. Hello, this is Brick. I've decided to remain anonymous. Based. But I will share everything from my perspective. Going public was the most challenging thing I've ever had to do. I tried to handle the situation with the utmost respect for her. A girl that did the raping, or is he coming out on behalf of another girl? I wanted her to get help, and I didn't want to drag her, which is why it's taken me so long to find the strength to comfort about all this. I tried to keep these things offline, to talk it out with Ava privately. Do I care about any of this? Who is this person? Ava and I dated for roughly 9 months from December 2022 to the beginning of October 2023. Our relationship was incredibly toxic, abusive, controlling, Wait, toxic, abusive, controlling. Got it. But always got back together.
Bruh.
I recall trying to break up with her after finding lewd photos of other women on her phone. Okay, that's all the sound effects I have for today. Okay. But she refused to leave my house. Another time I tried to break up with her for cheating on me with a friend. Ava was 16 at the time, and her friend, oh my God, these are children. Based. And Ava called my mom crying and begging to talk to me. All these things made leaving, swear behind the fake pregnancy. Okay, I don't think I care about any of this. Who is this about? Do we care about this? Jesus. No, I don't. Okay. I already stopped caring. 16?
Have a bad habit, and I'm trying to come up with a name for it. But first, I'll describe it. They see the Hindu statue in Texas, or the planned Muslim city in Texas, and they start debating about the First Amendment. They see the guy who moved here from India trying to impeach the president, and their minds jump to the merits of his case, or lack thereof. What they won't do is say out loud what's on their minds, namely that all of these things are weird and bad and shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't have huge Muslim cities in Texas, or huge Hindu statues, or state representatives who can't pronounce representatives.
Representatives.
Trump is right. Even our leftoids aren't made in America anymore. But conservatives feel like they can't have an opinion about something unless they have a legal or scientific argument.
Wait. Aren't you recycling your legendaries? No. All the epic stuff gets filtered on here, on the splitter. Fuck off.
You get the feeling that if a raccoon showed up in their kitchen, they'd start figuring out how to explore scientific argument. You get the feeling that if a raccoon showed up in their kitchen, they'd start figuring out how to sue it for squatting. And once conservatives decide something should be stopped, they try to stop it in a way that sounds neutral and objective. Take the example of someone who's trying to get rid of the Hindu statue. He'll propose that we make a law against any religious displays, or
It's been killing me to ask you this, but since you're about to finish the game, why are you dumping resources into space, or is it even resources? You dump them into space because sometimes you get too much of a certain resource, and if you don't dump them, it'll fill up all of your shit, and then your shit gets fucked. So like right now, see how this is all full? Now it's fucked. Now it's fucked. It's stuck somewhere, and it's fucked. Good job.
or that religious displays should only come to a certain height. I'm not anti-Hindu, I'm just anti-things that are tall. Or the person who's trying to stop trans surgeries. He'll try to find studies showing that people regret getting them. Even when conservatives know what they want, they'll struggle for a standard to appeal to. They'll appeal to science, they'll appeal to reason, they definitely won't appeal to religious dogma, though they should. But one standard gets consistently left out of the discussion. Some call it common sense. Russell Kirk called it folk wisdom or folk law, and Edmund Burke called it prejudice. Here's Burke. You see, sir, that in this enlightened age, I am bold enough to confess that we are generally men of untaught feelings, that instead of casting away all our old prejudices, we cherish them to a very considerable degree. And to take more shame to ourselves, we cherish them because they are prejudices. And the longer they have lasted, and the more generally they have prevailed, the more we cherish them. We're embarrassed to talk this way. We assume pre-rational judgment is always unfair. We want all of our opinions to come from double-blind studies or careful deliberation. But it was also controversial at the time. When Burke was writing, Enlightenment rationalism was what every smart person thought, and here he was defending untaught feelings. But why are they necessary? Aren't people capable of thinking through issues on their own? Burke didn't think so. We are afraid to put men to live and trade each on his own private stock of reason, because we suspect that the stock in each man is small, and that the individuals would do better to avail themselves of the general bank and capital of nations and of ages. Now, there's an important distinction here. I'm not saying that all human beings intuitively know what's right, as if everyone, given enough time in the right armchair, would come up with the same conclusions about the world. That's like expecting everyone who picks up a guitar to eventually write Stairway to Heaven. Remember, some cultures are prejudiced against bathing. But Burke was an Englishman writing to a Frenchman. He saw the French throwing away generations of good prejudices and embracing chaos. Healthy prejudices come from healthy cultures. As we lose our culture, we can no longer take advantage of that general bank and capital of nations and of ages.
Like, talk about begging the question. Healthy prejudices come from healthy cultures. What does it mean for a prejudice to be healthy, and what does it mean for a culture to be healthy? Like, what a worthless statement.
And we've been taught to think of that capital as being evil. But of course, every advantage that previous Americans gave to modern Americans is supposed to be evil. We're subjected to a sort of cultural inheritance tax. But if we're repulsed at something evil or attracted to something good, even when we can't explain it, we should be grateful for that. We shouldn't leave it to each new generation to discover fire for themselves. This kind of prejudice is what culture is built on. Without it, we tie ourselves in knots so that we're not able to do obvious things. Because Burke's enemies won, it's turned everyone into diffident losers, too quote-unquote humble to believe anything. Burke again. Prejudice is of ready application in the emergency. It previously engages the mind in a steady course of wisdom and virtue, and does not leave the man hesitating in the moment of decision, skeptical, puzzled, and unresolved. Prejudice renders a man's virtue his habit, and not a series of unconnected acts. Through just prejudice, his duty becomes a part of his nature.
You're right.
In the last few generations, we've lost this, what should be...
Wait, this shouldn't be here. Oh my god. Fuck, I was recycling that. You're right. Wait, what did this fucking quote just say? Hold on.
Hesitating in the moment ages the thing. Burke again. Prejudice is of ready application in the emergency. It previously engages the mind in a steady course of wisdom and virtue, and does not leave the man hesitating in the moment of decision, skeptical, puzzled, and unresolved. Prejudice renders a man's virtue his habit, and not a series of unconnected acts. Through just prejudice, his duty becomes a part of his nature. In the last few generations, we've lost this. What should be strong convictions, we treat as personal preferences. We think we have to make a rational argument for being what our grandparents would call normal. We don't think we can act until we've dotted every I, and that's because we've allowed ourselves to be bullied by the rationalists. But it turns out you don't need permission from Neil deGrasse Tyson to tell someone to get their muddy shoes off your couch. I do think this is turning around. Since Trump came on the stage, people are more comfortable using the phrase, "we don't do that here," or
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
If this kind of confidence comes...
Is this guy going to make the argument that you should be prejudiced, actually? He is making that argument. Basically, he's an idiot, is what it basically is. There's a degree of truth to what he's saying, that you do want to act quick and swiftly in times of emergency, which is what that quote was saying, right? This is the whole argument to some extent for why we have, for instance, a single executive, like a president of the United States, rather than two presidents or a body of presidents, because you want to act swiftly when you have the correct answer. But figuring out what the correct answer is should be a painfully slow deliberation, which is why we have a Congress that's split into two halves. And more importantly, it's an essential part of democracy. The reason why you can't just rely on common sense, like some of these dipshits would want you to believe you can, is because not everybody's common sense is going to be the same thing. Now, if you live in a homogenous? What's the difference between homogenous and a heterogeneous? If you live in a society where everybody's the same, they all believe the same shit, then that works. But in a democracy, you bring different people together who don't necessarily agree on everything. And in those cases, you do have to appeal to things that are outside of your intuitions, because you can't debate an intuition with somebody. You have to argue things outside of your intuition, like reason or logic, in order to get people on the same page as you. That's why we have these debates, and why we can't just constantly appeal to our intuitions, which doesn't work if you've got people with conflicting intuitions. I ordered a third hot chocolate. If this is a coffee, I'm gonna start banning motherfuckers in chat. I just can't have my no hot chocolate day, okay? Please, God. Please, God! Please, God, don't have any coffee in you. Oh. That's a 10.
Back, we might be able to do a lot of good. But as Russell Kirk said, prejudice and prescription are delicate growths, slow to rise, easy to injure, hardly possible to resuscitate. Cultural instincts are more like orchids than they are like dandelions. You can't just spray Roundup on them for 3 generations and expect them to pop back up when it's convenient. I don't think that healthy prejudice is dead.
Homo equals same, hetero equals different. Yeah. Wait. Yes, that's true. Wait, what am I thinking of? Homogeneous versus heterogeneous. It's heterogeneous, right? It's not heterogeneous, right? It's homogeneous versus heterogeneous. Oh, I'm thinking orthodox versus heterodox. Wait, why is it orthodox? Why isn't it monodox?
It's just been hiding, usually behind some rational argument. Because you can't just spray Roundup on them for 3 generations and expect them to pop back up when it's convenient. I don't think that healthy prejudice is dead, it's just been hiding, usually behind some rational argument. Because we've cut ourselves off from a lot of our healthiest instincts, we shouldn't trust everything we think. But we also shouldn't feel like we have to cite 14 studies before we can say, that's weird, somebody stop it. Everyone has cultural presuppositions, and we should value ours. Basic confidence in our untaught feelings is something we don't just need in the general populace. We need it in our commentators, our judges, and our
representatives.
Like, you absolutely don't want this in your judges and in your politics. Like, you want them to be deliberative and to debate. Otherwise, why would we even have court? Or why would we do jury trials? Why would we have anything? We would just have a guy that comes up and uses his common sense to figure out who's right or wrong. Wouldn't that be the easiest way to do it? It's anti-intellectual. Like, actually anti-intellectual.
Why do you think that, like, what was...
Is it worth watching this whole thing? This is 10 minutes?
The administration's purpose, not the legal argument for whether they can do it or not.
Israel.
What? Yeah, okay, so
it's literal Israel. And it's absurd that they'd argue... what they're doing when it comes to these students is they're saying they're a threat to our national security, and that's. I mean, it's.
Do you think she was a threat to the national security?
It's technically the truth, which is the best kind of the truth. In that, yes, opposing U.S. alliance with Israel is bad. Rallying in any meaningful way students to oppose Israel is bad for the U.S. foreign policy. But come on, you know what I mean? Like a woman writing an op-ed that's not from here is nothing compared to the people from here writing the same op-eds. What they're doing is they're basically saying I agree with you in that they're saying
not feel when the only thing we needed for Tim Pool to believe in freedom of speech was somebody using their freedom of speech to attack Israel and getting punished for it. Based.
Do not do these things or we will deport you. We will find the thinnest of hairs of a reason to revoke your visa if you come out against us. I'm not completely in disagreement. So the reason why I say 60% when you ask me if I thought it was morally right is because obviously they don't need 6 guys swarming her in a pincer formation. One guy could have knocked on her door and said, ma'am, Your visa's been revoked. I'm going to need you to come with me. We've got a black SUV you can sit in. We're going to, deal with this in a rather kind of boring way. They didn't need to do that. The claim about a threat to our national security is grossly overestimated. The claim that these people have adhered to Hamas is grossly overestimated. That being said, it is still completely legal in that an individual who comes here on a conditional visa not violate the conditions of that visa.
Sure.
So it's
legal. But dude, I'm asking you, do you think it's good for America that college students who are here on a student visa because of political speech are being thrown into vans and having...
Wait, are they going to disagree on this? I'm so confused right now. Or are they...
legal things be done? Sure, it's narrowly legal, but they're being... She's being put in a prison, and then she's being forcibly deported. Do you think that's good for America? This is... Okay, so,
marginally.
You think... What do you think is good... Even marginally, what's the minor small benefit to America?
Do not come to our country and rally against it and its interests.
Oh, wait, he's kind of...
And I apply this too.
So what is the U.S. interest that her writing an op-ed...
Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal?
Right. The United States... the reason why the U.S. is so... I love these Jews people that are like, Israel controls the foreign policy. Oh, shut up. The U.S. interest with Israel, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia has a lot to do with the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. This is why Donald Trump is obsessed with Panama and Greenland. He wants to control the global trade routes. This is what America's largely done. That's why I say it's...
We already do, but... Okay.
It's a gross mischaracterization to claim that an op-ed is a threat to national security, in that it is, in the smallest of senses. Students coming here and telling us to oppose our support with Israel puts us at risk in terms of the sentiment of a younger generation as to whether or not we'll fund Israel and control the Suez Canal.
But I asked you if you thought it was good to deport her.
I said marginally.
Right, because we have national interest in the Suez Canal, and she wrote an op-ed.
That's the U.S.'s interest.
Okay, so why do you think it was good to deport her?
Asserting U.S. sovereignty. Do not come to our country and tell us what to do. You've got a condition of your visa. You are a guest in this country.
Okay.
Adhere to the agreements we have.
So what, you just can't have any political opinions if you're here on visa, I guess? Okay.
So you think that America should be a country where if you come here on a student visa, you're paying into our, university system, you're coming here for the reasons that, completely legally, we've invited you to come, right? Yes. This is why America is the country it is, partially, because people like this have come for decades. If you express a political opinion that is mildly at odds with a U.S. interest in another country of a canal, that you should be deported. You think America should be the kind of country where if somebody comes here, they write an op-ed that says literally anything about U.S. foreign policy, they should be deported. So going forward, literally everyone in the world should know if you are on foot on U.S. soil, you should not say anything in public about U.S. national priorities of any kind, or else you could be deported. Do you think it's good to have a country where that's the understanding?
All right. So you're saying that...
This is what I'm trying to drill down to.
The individuals who come to this country and apply for student visas have made that agreement already.
No.
So while I would argue...
I don't think so.
The deportation of Romesa is the thinnest of hairs. Mahmoud Khalil makes more sense. I mean, he organized and helped lead protests that resulted in damage, occupations of buildings, several staff at the Columbia.
Let's stay on Romesa because then we don't have to split hairs.
Right. The issue is do not come to our country and tell us what to do. That's it. If you're here as a guest of this nation, you do not start rallying its people in opposition to the will of the voters and with the government.
Just to be clear, that's so funny about these First Amendment arguments. These people are saying that people who are here on visa or on green cards have no First Amendment rights. And then in the next breath are saying that you have a First Amendment right to not be banned from Twitter, right? That's the chasm between our positions here. In what world do you have some consistent ideological foundation that generates both of those beliefs?
I mean, I really thought the point of America was, freedom of speech was a main value here. That I think that's why people.
Oh, and he's realizing, oh shit, conservatives are actually authoritarians. This is actually a fucking fascist. He doesn't care about freedom of speech.
Well, come here. It's why I like living here, because I always felt that, hey, I can express an opinion, especially about U.S. foreign policy, and not have anything happen to me. So that's a right that only citizens have. And you think America should be a country where if you are not literally an American citizen, if you express any opinion about U.S. foreign policy. I mean, and we both agree the opinion she expressed was pretty mild. It wasn't like a very inflammatory opinion, right? It was like it's pretty mainstream political opinion to have. It conflicts with U.S. interests about the Suez Canal. I still don't really understand that point, but let's just say that it does. That should be grounds for being forcibly removed from the country. And like whether or not it's legally the case. That
the funny thing is, yeah, because this guy is very far left. I don't know if either of these guys actually give a fuck about freedom of speech. He might just care about it because he's pro-Palestine and he hates the fucking Jews. And Tim Pool might. I don't even know what Tim Pool's actual position is on this. It sounds like he is not in favor of those people being deported, but he is because it's just about Israel. But he actually is because he also doesn't like immigrants. So it's just like we're on so many different meta proxy levels of fighting here. But
could do that. Do you think it's good? You think it's good to have a country where things like that happen? You think a thriving country is one where people come into the country, they write an op-ed for the paper of the organization of which they're a member. She's paying tuition to go to this school, and she's working for the student newspaper or whatever. She's writing an op-ed. She's probably not employed there, but she's writing for the student newspaper, and that is grounds to be deported. And
always was. I mean, so my attitude.
Do you think that's the kind of country America is?
Always has been. That's why
I guess that's where we fundamentally disagree.
But hold on, the Immigration and Naturalization Act has multiple provisions that outright say this is the case. And so that's why I say it's marginally good, because the issue is the U.S. asserting its sovereignty and saying, as a guest in this nation, we ask you not do certain things.
We ask we ask you don't write mildly worded op-eds about U.S. foreign policy vis-a-vis a different country's war.
Let's not load it. Let's say, do not speak out against our foreign policy.
So, okay, great. So America is a country where, if you, in your view, if you are a foreign national, you are here on a student visa, you've been invited to the country, you should not.
Every time.
Okay. It's fair. To me, Tim, it's a very baffling position.
Listen, you're arguing that I should call for illegal activities. Let me phrase it this way. My attitude is, Congress has passed a law.
Okay.
It was passed in the House and the Senate, signed by the President, and upheld by the courts.
Okay.
This law states it is the purview of the Secretary of State to make the decisions as to whether or not these visas can stand for a variety of reasons.
Okay.
I say it's marginally good. Her opinion was mild, and I don't think it. I think it's silly to claim that she's adhering to Hamas because of an anti-Israel position. My point is, for the government to assert its authority under the law as codified by Congress, the President, and the courts is marginally good. Marginally is, I said 60% maybe. If I was president, I wouldn't do it. But the idea that our country asserts its authority to say, you are guests in this country and we will make the determination whether you can stay or not, is a normal process. And to argue that the government should not assert its authority when it feels it should, I think is silly.
I'm still looking.
There's a world we want to live in, and then I'll put it this way. I think people have a right to keep and bear nuclear weapons. The founding fathers were clear in their intent on the right to bear arms, which included privateers with grape shot. Now we've changed that and said only large corporations that the government approves of can have nuclear weapons. Agreed. Nobody should have nuclear weapons. My point is that if you want to change the law, you have to do it through the constitutional process, and that adhering to that is typically a good thing.
I don't know how we got on nuclear weapons.
It's a point about process of law.
Yeah,
and saying the government has a right to do something. So if they choose to do it, okay. If you have a problem with it, then Congress should repeal those, specifically amend the INA to remove those provisions. It is completely legal under the United States at the will of the American people that this happened. You don't like that it's happening now, but this was the will of the voters and Congress, and it's been law for like 50 years.
Dude, just because something is legal doesn't mean it's right.
Correct.
And
we should change it then.
So
my point is upholding the law is marginally good. Sometimes the law is bad, and that's why it's not always good. In this regard.
So wait, you're saying simply the fact that Marco Rubio exercised his legal authority to do something was good. It's like he had the legal authority to do it. He could have enforced this law as he saw it on anybody. He could have enforced it on a comedian, right? Who's in town and goes on stage and says, "Hey, you know what? I disagree with this or that." Or, "Hey, I just did shows in
Canada,
I just did what?
You're not from Canada.
No, but I just did shows in the UK and Amsterdam, and I made fun of UK politics, made fun of American politics."
You wouldn't dare make fun of Islam, though. Go to the UK and mock Islam. Do it. Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast.
I mean, Ricky Gervais. I'm pretty sure there are edgy comedians in Europe that will make fun of Islam. I'm sure. I mean, people can be more spooky there, but like, they do exist, right? Ricky must, right? I know he takes the piss out of Christians a lot.